Well, Ole Miss fans, a lot has happened the last few hours, the last few days, and the last few weeks. We now know that Lane Kiffin, that man right there on the wall, is no longer the head coach at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is now the head coach at LSU. We also now know that our defensive coordinator at Ole Miss, Pete Golden, is now the head coach, now the permanent head coach at Ole Miss. We'll talk about Pete Golden more here pretty soon. But I do want to talk about that man first. The man on the wall, Lane Kiffin, is the first guy we'll talk about in this video. And man, do I have some stuff I want to say in this video about Coach Kiffin. Where do I even start? I don't even know, to be honest with you. We'll start off with this first. And this first part here is talking about the days before Lane came to Ole Miss. So before Lane came to Ole Miss, some of those years were pretty rough. And of course, when Ole Miss had Matt Luke, those 3 years, Matt Luke went 15-21 overall, 6-18, I believe, in SEC play. Those years are pretty rough. And, you could go back even before the Coach Luke days. Some of those years and some of those memories were not the best. But I will say this, after Ole Miss fired Coach Luke, the Ole Miss fans, we were ready for a change. We were ready for some new energy, ready for someone who could turn things around. And yes, Ole Miss interviewed, of course, several coaches at that time, and we made the decision to hire Lane Kiffin. This Ole Miss fan base was so happy and so excited when the news broke that Lane Kiffin is going to be the next Ole Miss head coach. This Ole Miss fan base, I can't even describe it to you, but we were so happy and so excited that he was coming to Ole Miss. And of course, when Lane first came to Ole Miss, of course, it's not like Ole Miss is winning 10, 11 wins his first year. Yes, it did take a little bit of time. Yes, it did take a couple years until we started getting 10 plus wins. But I will say this, is Lane Kiffin going to see this video? Probably not. There's probably a small possibility that he'll actually find this video somehow, but if Lane Kiffin ever finds this video, I'll say this to him. Lane, I do appreciate you turning things around. I appreciate all the wins. I appreciate all the memories. The times, rushing the field. And there's just still so much I can name off. But a lot of the memories, I'll never forget. A lot of these years that we have won 10 plus games in a year, I'll never forget. Lane Kiffin, you made it cool for recruits and transfers to come to the SIP. You did. If it was not for you, several of those high recruits and several of those talented transfers would have never came to Ole Miss. You made it cool to come and play for Ole Miss. You made it cool to come to the SIP. And hey, I appreciate you doing that. I really do. Before you came here, I remember those years when the stadium was halfway filled. I remember those years when there were several tickets available on the Ole Miss website and other ticket websites. Now the last couple years, season tickets have skyrocketed. The stadium is full. Now it's hard just to even find a ticket for some games. Now some of these games are, a couple $100. Back 6-7 years ago, some of those games I was getting tickets for free because nobody wanted to go to the game. Or maybe you could get those tickets a lot cheaper than what they are now. Going to an Ole Miss game now is considered very cool by many. I mean, now, not only going to the games, but now even pregame. I mean, look, the Walk of Champions, there's more fans showing up for that. You got a lot more fans showing up in the Grove, not only pregame, but even after the game as well, too. Of course, the weekends, these restaurants, these businesses, everybody getting more business as well, too. And all that is because of you, Wayne. It is. So I will say that. I appreciate you turning things around. I appreciate all the memories. A lot of that stuff I will never forget. But also, I will say this. And I know every Ole Miss fan will agree with me on this one. I think most of the people worldwide would also agree with this statement as well, too. But the way that you have handled things at Ole Miss the last few weeks, the last few days, the last few hours, the Ole Miss fans do not appreciate how things have been handled. The nicest way I can put it to you is things have been handled horribly and very poorly on your behalf, Wayne. It's not a secret that you sent your family, down to Gainesville and Baton Rouge. It's not a secret that, you showed interest in both of these schools. It's not a secret that you have ruined relationships with some people now. It is not a secret that also there were some people you were avoiding on purpose, avoiding text messages, avoiding phone calls. And there are still several things I can name off, but how things have been handled by you, Coach Lane Kiffin, the last few days, the last few weeks have been pretty bad. And, this year, it's not like we're 6-6. It's not like we're 3-9. It's not like we're having a horrible season. This year, look, we are 11-1. 11 wins, 1 loss. Your only loss was on the road at Georgia. And that game right there, we were winning by 9 in the fourth quarter. Yes, Georgia came back and won the game. But look, this is a team that is going to be playing in the playoffs here in a few weeks. If you were to say to Ole Miss, who knows what's going to happen? We don't know the future. Possibility Ole Miss may lose the first game. Possibility Ole Miss may just win a few games and may just win it all. Who knows? But this is my point, Wayne. You have been here at Ole Miss for 6 years. You have got a couple, contract extensions. Of course, you're getting paid more money now than when you first started. We have gave you everything, or almost everything you have wanted. What you wanted, what you asked for, you got. This Ole Miss fan base, the boosters, and everybody here has treated you so good. We have treated your family very good as well, too. I mean, and Wayne, look, the documentary came out a few months ago. Of course, you talk about how much you have changed and you talk about how much you needed Oxford and Oxford needed you. And you talk about you stopped drinking and you talked about you're a changed man. But now many people are going to say that you have not changed one bit. Many people are going to say, well, look, Lane Kiffin left a team that could possibly win a national championship team. He may do the same thing to somebody else here in the future. I will say this. Look, LSU is a team who has won some national championships. That's facts. They've had several Heisman winners. They've had a lot of success for years. Look, I get it. Recruits, transfers, I get it. People also want to play for LSU. But look at what you've done at Ole Miss. You have turned things around. You have made it cool to come to the sip. I mean, do you think you can do better at LSU now than Ole Miss? 10 years ago, it was obvious. It was obvious LSU was a better job. 20 years ago, 50 years ago, it's obvious LSU was a better job. But now, here in 2025, and of course, I know this is just my opinion. Some may disagree. But here in 2025, is LSU considered a better job than Ole Miss? Some would say yes. Some would say no. Everybody has a thought, and everybody has a thought and opinion about that. But look at what you've done at Ole Miss. 10 plus wins the last couple years. This year, 11-1. I just don't get it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's more I want to mention, but I better just be quiet. But many Ole Miss fans just don't understand the decision and just don't understand some things that have been going on the last few weeks. But Lane Kiffin, you're now the most hated man in Mississippi. And for those who don't know, LSU, they are coming to Ole Miss next year. Now, the date and time has not been announced for that game yet. They'll be announced here in the future. But that game right there is going to get a bunch of national attention. That game right there, there's going to be some people wanting to kill you. That game right there, some people may just bring some golf balls and some mustard bottles and may just throw it to you on the sidelines. That game right there is going to get, it could possibly get pretty nasty and pretty ugly when LSU comes to Oxford next year. But anyway, Wayne, once again, I appreciate what you've done at Ole Miss. But how things have been handled the last few weeks, I don't appreciate it. That's just the nicest way I can put it to you. Now, moving on, kind of a different subject here. Of course, news has now came out. The defense coordinator, Pete Golden, is now going to be the head coach at Ole Miss. And I will say this for Pete Golden. Of course, y'all know he used to be at Alabama and used to be at some other places before in the past as well too. Of course, we all know, Golden, can recruit. Of course, we've seen that the last few years. I guess the question is, can Pete Golden be successful as a head coach in the SEC? And to be honest with you, I don't know. Look, every Ole Miss fan is hoping there's not going to be a drop-off. Every Ole Miss fan is hoping we can still continue to win 10-plus games every year. I just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, of course, this is just my opinion, and look, I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I do believe possibility there could be kind of a drop-off. Possibility you may not see Ole Miss get 11 and 10 wins again. Possibility, once again, this is just kind of thoughts, ideas, or things that may or may not happen. Possibility Ole Miss may go back to winning, 7, 8 games in a year. What's going to happen, I don't know. Once again, I'm an Ole Miss fan. I am hoping Ole Miss can win 10-plus games every year. I am hoping Ole Miss can compete for national championships every year. But what is going to happen, I just don't know. And at this time, who is all going to decommit? Of course, you got signing day here in a few days. Who's all going to decommit? I don't know. And of course, some of our players may transfer and some of them may follow Wayne to LSU. At this time, there is so many question marks in the air. We don't know at this moment, we don't know what players will be on this team next year. At this moment, we don't even know the coaching staff. There is so many question marks in the air. We just don't know. But anyway, I guess it's pretty much all I got for the video. I do want to hear other people's thoughts, opinions on this whole situation. Not only with Wayne going to LSU now, but I also want to hear people's thoughts about Ole Miss now making Pete Golden the head coach. I just always love people's thoughts and opinions on different situations. And possibility, I may agree with you. Possibility, I may disagree with you. But I still want to hear y'all's thoughts on this whole situation. So anyway, that's all I got for the video. Howdy toddy, and see y'all in the next one.